Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you what the sport of Formula One does to you as a fan. Now, if you are a dead-headed fucking retard that just likes to think you know what you think you know, and just likes to tell us what you think you know in the comment section, jog the fuck on. I'm not interested in what your opinion is. Watch and learn. This channel is to educate you because you've been lied to and you don't know that you've been lied to. But if you watch this, you will see just how much you've been lied to. So you can get to the end of this and decide whether you need to wear a tinfoil hat, believe the earth is flat, or believe that the conspiracy theorist means somebody's just fucking crazy. Watch and learn. So I'm going to compare Abu Dhabi 2021 with Monza 2022. Monza 22 was a safety car finish. Look at the data. Look at the data. Facts. I'm going to play this through. What you need to keep your eye on. Where I'm waving my cursor at the moment, near the bottom of the screen, you've got a white dot on this line, which is the line of the track in terms of the distance around that track that these competitors are on. You've got MSC and Latifi. That white dot underneath it, you've got Latifi's dot. It will come to a standstill. So watch it move and watch it come to a standstill.
At the start of this season, it's once again a great recovery because they felt they've been hampered coming into this season by those slight regulation changes.
Wow, that feels like a long time ago.
Okay, that blue dot has come to a standstill. That is Nicholas Latifi crashing. Lewis Hamilton, the race leader, is where I'm waving my cursor now. Now, if you look from the left to the right of that bar there, Lewis Hamilton is approximately 2/3 of the way along that box. Okay, meaning he's got 1/3 of that lap to go. Now, that's an approximation. It's not exact, but let's say 1/3 of that lap remaining. They are on lap 53. They have to complete lap 53, which is 1/3 of a lap. Then it's 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. There are 5 1/3 laps remaining for Lewis Hamilton at this point. The Abu Dhabi track is 5.281 kilometres long. We'll do it in kilometres for our European friends. With 5 1/3 laps remaining, that means there are 28.165 kilometres remaining in this race. At approximately 1.5 minutes per lap, at 5 1/3 laps remaining, there would be about 8 minutes of racing. Write them figures down. 28.165 kilometres left would normally take about 8 minutes at racing speed. Monza 2022. Keep your eye on this. Where I'm trying to wave my cursor, there is the orange dot, not Norris's dot. Look at this one further back where you've got Verstappen's blue dot and it is Daniel Ricciardo's orange dot.
The poor lap there when he had to get out of Max Verstappen's way, and that allowed De Vries to get within DRS of him, and also, as you mentioned before, Cropley, breakaway from Zhou Guanyu. So the Williams team, they would desperately...
Can you see that orange dot has come to a standstill and the cars start streaming by it? Daniel Ricciardo has pulled over on the side of the track. Look at the location of where Max Verstappen's blue dot is. That seems to be approximately halfway along this bar, halfway around that lap. We are on lap 47. So we've got half of lap 47 to complete, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. 6.5 laps remaining. Monza is 5.793 kilometres long. The typical lap time again, approximately, we'll make it nice and easy, 1.5 minutes per lap time. So 6.5 laps at 5.793 kilometres per lap is 37.654 kilometres remaining. At 1.5 minutes a lap, that's 9 minutes 45 seconds remaining approximately of racing time at normal speed. If you've written the first set of figures down, Abu Dhabi, 5 1/3 laps remaining at the point in time the incident occurred. 28 kilometres left, 8 minutes of racing left at normal racing time. Monza, 6.5 laps remaining, 37 kilometres left as opposed to just 28 in Abu Dhabi, 9 minutes 45 seconds of race left at normal racing speed compared to what would have been 8 minutes left in Abu Dhabi. One ends behind a safety car, one doesn't. We'll take you through what the Sky Sports commentary team had to say in Monza. So, this is just going to be the first one, because when you go to the main feed, F1 TV are now employing their own team of commentators, and you get two different versions of commentary. This is Sky Sports commentary, this is Karun Chandhok and David Croft. Here we go.
Take another point, won't they? I mean, so far in the Constructors' Championship, they are plumb last with 8 points on the board. Yellow flag somewhere in Sector 2.
Yeah, we're just looking on the screen. Is it Daniel Ricciardo? Daniel Ricciardo got a problem. Yes, he has.
I lost the engine.
Now, let me explain this to you. Look at this. This is data view. They even say later in this commentary that they see data view. They actually say it. Look at data view yourself. Look where it's got gap at the top column. I'm waving my cursor now. Gap, leader, and then it's 16 seconds behind the leader is therefore Charles Leclerc. Okay, and then 31 seconds behind the leader is Russell, who's 15 seconds behind Leclerc. 38 seconds behind the leader is Sainz, who's 7 seconds behind Russell. You can see what's going on here. We get down to 8th, Gasly, plus 1 lap. So you can see that Pierre Gasly in 8th has been lapped. Okay, so all the cars behind Gasly, the leader, has overtaken. And if you look at this bottom strip, you've got Verstappen's blue dot, which I'm trying to circle now. The next dot around this, behind him to the left, is the grey dot of Gasly. That is how you can see what is truly going on. If you don't understand that, learn. And if you still don't understand that, I can't help you. You just lack the mental capacity for understanding, but you are the perfect target audience for Formula One if you're that type of fucking retard. Anyway.
Engine problem for Daniel Ricciardo. Now he is parked in between the first and second of the Lesmo corners. Last year's race winner was running in the points, but he is now out of this race, and we are surely going to get a safety car here. Now this could very much change the context of this race, and they're waiting to maybe receive cars for pit stops, but Verstappen has carried on. Race control still debating, do we need a safety car? Do we need a virtual safety car? Is the McLaren out of the way so that we can just cover that off with yellow flags? And Verstappen goes through, the second place driver goes through in Charles Leclerc, whilst that McLaren...
They were very slow on the uptake, race control. The presentation by Sky Sports, can we just cover that off with yellow flags? Ridiculous. You've got 6 laps to go. You're not going to leave a car on the side of the track for 6 laps, making all of the drivers slow down each time for 6 laps with yellow flags, because it's still a safety concern. You've got to get that obstacle out of the way, that potential for, if a car lost control in that area and smashed into a car, the damage done by smashing into a car could be a lot more severe than them crash barriers that are purposefully designed to try and minimise the damage done to the driver. So you can't just cover situations like that off with yellow flags for a prolonged period of time. Certainly not 6 laps. Ridiculous suggestion, but these are the lies that they feed to you, and you don't understand, because you don't understand health and safety implications. You don't understand the duty of care that the FIA has, their responsibility when administering a sport.
Is still stranded. It's not necessarily going to be a safety car there. I think Lewis Hamilton retired at that very point. Now we are going to get a safety car. So the top 2...
Oh, I don't think... It doesn't have to be... Oh, it is. Oh, it is. So you've speculated bullshit, And then what happens? And this happens time and time again. Oh, are we going to see this? Are we going to see that? What does happen? What does happen? I'm not listening to your bullshit. It's always bullshit coming from the commentary teams. Always bullshit. You go back and watch every single safety car deployment since 2012, and every time the safety car comes out on track, it will be, and is this going to happen? And is this going to happen? And is this going to happen? And every time, all the things that they're suggesting never do, because it's bullshit. And it's there to hype up the twats that don't understand. And the viewer that doesn't understand is going, yeah, and are we going to see this? And those that understand just go, no, we're not going to see that, because that's not the way things work. But those of you that get excited easily, you believe them. You think that they're being authentic. But you watch each of them 50 incidents, and they all seem to be the same thing. They're all hyping it up, but the same thing happens each time. But each time, rather than you go, oh, they do this every time, and it doesn't happen that way, each time you get hyped up. Each time you go, yeah! Oh, no, it didn't happen like that, did it? It's just carried out the normal procedure, like they have to do. Wake up, dickheads. Wake up.
Two have gone through. George Russell is now right at the entrance to the pit lane and has come into the pits. So Mercedes have nothing to lose, they think, by getting George Russell into the pits. Will they do the same with Carlos Sainz at Ferrari? Yes, they will. So Russell will hold position in third place. But if we get this race going again, George Russell is going to be on the fresher tyres behind Leclerc and Verstappen.
Yeah, this is potentially changing the complexion of the end of this race, Crofty, because Verstappen's 22-lap-old tyres, Leclerc 14-lap-old tyres. They haven't yet caught the safety car, have they? So could they potentially come in and out on the next lap? We've got to see where the safety car is.
Can we make a free stop?
Yes. That's what I was saying there. Yeah. So they haven't yet caught the safety car. Verstappen coming up to the parabolica here. The safety car, as you can see, not in front of him. And he has got 21 seconds on Leclerc. So he should be able to get a free stop.
And Leclerc should be able to get a free stop too, as are some others. Lando Norris.
Has a safety car got to stop?
We do not gain position if we stay out, so stop this lap.
Yeah, that is a sensible call from Ferrari. Lando Norris stopping too. Here comes Max Verstappen to make his pit stop. We might yet finish this race behind the safety car. Has anyone...
Oh, really, Crofty? We might yet finish this race behind the safety car. We're on lap 49 of 53. What needs to happen is the incident needs to be cleared up. The track needs to be declared as being safe. The field needs to have been bunched. The lap runners need to be released. There needs to be one further lap of the safety car before we can resume racing. They are the regulations. That's what needs to happen. In order to resume a race after it has been stopped, neutralised by a safety incident, the only way you can restart it is if having that field of competitors in the correct race order with all of the gaps that have been built up nullified. That's the only way. That is what is dictated by the regulations. That's why they're written the way that they are. You've been lied to with all the bullshit that suggested otherwise, and they're going to continue with the bullshit in this commentary.
Stayed out. I don't think they have. 2.7 seconds stationary for Max Verstappen. A few others are staying out, but behind the leading quartet, Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell and Sainz, who have all pitted. There are 9 lapped cars that need to unlap themselves. Leclerc is now going to pick up.
So they were able to identify them quite easily there. There were 9 lapped cars. Quite easy. But what's happened is, since Verstappen pitted, when Verstappen went into the pits, some of them lapped cars remained on track, which meant they were then unlapped. Okay, and there's a slight lag as to what you see happening on track and when this commentary comes through. So you can still see that Bottas, Tsunoda, Latifi, Magnussen are still effectively lapped cars. They called that there's 9 lapped cars. They didn't say in Abu Dhabi there were 8. In Abu Dhabi they said, oh, any lapped cars, and in between Hamilton and Verstappen, and just listed 5. Why? They had no problem in identifying the fact here that prior to Verstappen pitting under safety car, Gasly down to Magnussen, 9 cars were lapped. Easily picked that out. Brundle tells us the day after Abu Dhabi, you know what? Even identifying who the lapped cars are isn't very easy. Lies. It's very easy. And in Abu Dhabi, rather than identify 8, they'd say any lapped cars will be allowed to be released. And in between Hamilton and Verstappen, there is Norris, Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc and Vettel. They ignored Ricciardo, Stroll and Schumacher.
Going to pit stop. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, so Charles Leclerc does stop, and that's why it was important for Max Verstappen to keep that 17-second gap in case something like this happens. A free pit stop for both Verstappen and Leclerc. We are seeing a Williams stop as well. De Vries came on the radio saying his brake pedal was going long, Karun, which is Crofty, which is concerning. So let's see what happens. It is possible that the race will not restart. They won't be able to get this all sorted out before the 53 laps conclude.
It's possible that the race won't restart. And how long will they wait? Was what we were getting from Brundle in Abu Dhabi.
Well, if the safety cars come out, Ted, that's good news for Nick de Vries with a long brake pedal, because that's related to temperature, and this will allow the brakes to just cool right back down. So if we do go racing again, and Crofty, it's an excellent point, will we get any racing laps? Let's have a look on the left-hand side of our screen. Where is the...
That's it, boys and girls. Will we get any racing laps? You stay on the edge of your seat in excitement and anticipation.
McLaren looks to have... Oh, no,
it's still there. It's still there.
Stuck in gear.
Yeah, you see, that's going to take some moving, I think.
See, they can see that. They've got a camera. And in their little commentary studio, they can see what's going on with Daniel Ricciardo. I was going to jump straight to the point in time where they told us what they could see at turn 14 in Abu Dhabi, but I'll play you this bit first.
Will they let the lap runners through?
Well, they always do let the lap runners through, and in between Hamilton and Verstappen, Norris, Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc and Vettel.
Yes, but if they do that, it extends the safety car period.
See the bullshit? I'm not lying. Okay, let's just compare and contrast. Monza 2022.
If we do go racing again, and Crofty, it's an excellent point, will we get any racing laps? Let's have a look on the left-hand side of our screen. Where is the McLaren? Looks to have... Oh, no,
it's still there. It's still there.
Stuck in gear.
Yeah, you see, that's going to take some moving, I think. Now, Lewis Hamilton...
Monza 2022. Abu Dhabi 2021.
Is there a vehicle pulling the Williams out of the way or not yet?
Can't see it at the moment. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, have a load of other...
Yeah, we can't see. And neither can you, because they're not showing you. I wonder why that is. It's so you've got no fucking clue about what's really happening. Anyway, back to Monza 2022.
I don't think has got a free pit stop here. If he pitted, Sergio Perez would pass him, and that's why it was almost a dummy stop there to see if Red Bull would fall for it. The last thing Mercedes want is to...
Yeah, you don't want people falling for it, do you?
Lewis Hamilton, Perez stays out. We don't resume this race to the checkered flag, and Hamilton loses a place.
See, that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to pit somebody, lose track position, and if we don't resume this race, Hamilton loses a place. Wonder what Mercedes were thinking in Abu Dhabi.
Will they red flag it, do you think, and have a standing start finish for the last 3 laps?
Well,
look at what the commentators are doing. Oh, will they do this? Will they do that? Will they do this? Oh, all different options. Not an option. Doesn't meet the criteria. You people that are listening, that are the strap-on boys, that don't know, you don't know.
well, it's an option, but they tend to normally just red flag if there has been a crash and there's debris on the track and there's barrier repairments that are made. You could argue, would it be, in a sporting context, slightly unfair to red flag this now because you've got a safety car, it needs moving away. It's not like barriers need fixing, debris needs clearing up. I would imagine not.
You've got to say, in a sporting contest, in a sporting context, would that be unfair?
This feels a little bit Abu Dhabi 21, this, doesn't it? Where we got the late safety car. I mean, I'm fascinated to see because we've got 3 laps to go. If that car is still stuck in gear, what are they going to do? Get a cherry picker out there, basically, to lift the car out of the way?
In that case, then you've got a potential for a red flag.
So tyre update.
So Leclerc.
You've not got a potential for a red flag. What you've got to do is deal with the incident, and it gets dealt with under safety car. You get onto track, that crane where it lifts the car off the track. That's how you deal with it. They were slow. They were slow in deploying the safety car. They were slow in getting the crane there. That is the marshal's fault. The people that are doing the job, they were slow doing it. It was slow of the race director. They probably could have got 1 lap in at Monza. They probably could have, had they been quick enough. They weren't. This was a longer period than Abu Dhabi. And yet this ended in a safety car. Abu Dhabi didn't.
Leclerc pitted for a scrub soft. Russell has also pitted for a scrub soft. Sainz for a new soft.
Thing is, as well, while we get tyre updates, Charles Leclerc is still a very long way behind Max Verstappen. The field are not bunched up. I would hazard a guess that this race is going to finish behind the safety car.
Oh, that's a good guess, isn't it? You'd hazard that guess, would you? Because what's going to happen? Field's got a bunch. The track has got to be declared clear. Once it's been declared clear, you then release the lap cars. The safety car performs another lap. And then have we got any time for racing? It's looking unlikely, isn't it? Because we're nearing the end of lap 50. 3 laps to go. Which means, in order to get a racing lap, the lapped cars have to be released on lap 51. Lap 52 has got to be that mandatory safety car lap. That's the only way you'll get racing on lap 53. The only way.
It's a 3.6 mile lap, so it's quite a long lap, but even the safety car goes at a fair pace when it comes out here. We're running out of time to get this race restarted.
Where is this?
But how long will they wait? Are we going to see one more racing lap? What jeopardy?
Safety car. I still haven't seen it. The marshals have clearly given up, haven't they? Look, they're just standing by the side. They've given up trying to get...
You could see that, could you, Karoon? Nobody gave us any updates in Abu Dhabi. Nobody gave us any updates in Abu Dhabi.
They can't move it.
They can't.
You can see, can you? Can we see?
Mechanical.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? They're showing us live what's happening. They're showing us actually what's happening at that point in time on the track, rather than just the replays of the crash that they wanted to show us in Abu Dhabi. Strange, that.
So they're going to have to wait for something to lift it out of the way.
Well, in which case, if that car isn't moving without any help from a low loader, this is going to finish behind the safety car. But I think something is coming out through the trees to pick that car up and to move it away. There's the safety car. The Aston Martin's picked up our race leader. No, he hasn't. He's picked up some cars, but not our race leader, who had lapped quite a few cars.
Yeah, it appears to have picked up George Russell. Seems to be the first car in the train. So there.
When he's talking about the lapped cars, and he talked about there being 9 lapped cars, he didn't say, and in between Verstappen and Leclerc, you know, positions 1 and 2 in that race, there is, because there were only 7 of those lapped cars in between Verstappen and Leclerc, because Leclerc had lapped Latifi and Magnussen. But they didn't pick out just the 7 cars that were in between first and second, did they?
There are a whole bunch of cars between Russell and Max Verstappen. There is the cherry picker to get the car out of the way. So 2 laps to go, Crofty.
Well, that is just going to have to wait there and not move for a few moments, because the cars are approaching the first of the Lesmo corners.
That's just going to have to wait there until the safety car snake passes. So did you see the safety car snake pass the scene of turn 14, the scene of the incident? No, you didn't. You didn't see that edit from F1 TV. You instead saw replays of the crash until them cars had passed and they were beginning the next lap. They constantly missed that bit out, so you never got to actually see clearly what was really going on. They lied to you. They lied to you.
Plenty of space, and they all know it's there.
But what are we seeing here? We're seeing the crane lifting the car up on track.
So they can take it nice and easy, but the chances of us...
Oh, there's the safety car snake. Look, everybody, this is the situation. This is why it can't restart. Did you see that in Abu Dhabi? No, you didn't. It's because you were fed a bullshit narrative. A constructed bullshit narrative. They fucking lied to you. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a flat earther. You need to wear a tinfoil hat. Right, yeah, I'm the one that needs that, yeah? Wake the fuck up.
Pass. So, Ted, down to you.
Yeah, so the likes of Pierre Gasly, Nick De Vries, Zhou Guanyu gaining on this, not stopping, did they, Crofty, under that safety car? Lando Norris did. George Russell, has just been an interesting radio message between him and his engineer. I think he was told that he could overtake the safety car and get into formation, but I'm not sure.
That's right, we'll cut to Ted in the pits to chat some shit. Cheers for that, Ted.
Well, that's been actually published on page 3, the information screen, has it?
No,
they said his engineer, the Mercedes engineer, said, yeah, I think there is a green light on.
But some of these fools will be hanging on every word. Oh, it's so fucking exciting. Are we going to see anything happen? No, you're not. Some of us are just not excited at all because we know it's going to be a safety car finish at this stage. We're on lap 51 or 53. If you're not going to release the lapped cars this lap, then you're not going to go racing this race. That's the way it goes. And you're not going to release lapped cars while that crane is still picking up that car, because the clerk of the course is not going to declare that track safe. That's the way this shit works.
On the top of the safety car, and George said, it kind of looks yellow to me, so I'm not going to do that. So he's held position.
Just looking here, even with my glasses on, it looks yellow to me, Karun Chandler.
Yeah, no, I think it is green. But bizarrely, we haven't. That's why they're going past, isn't it? I mean, we haven't got the message on page 3.
There's a green strip in between the 2 yellow lights there.
Yes.
And there is the race leader.
And that's
now he's been picked up by the safety car, and it's
that's why it went to yellow.
Yeah.
So I think that was right. I think.
So what's happened here? What's happened here? Let's see if we can. Let's see what it shows you on here, and I'll quick back to data view.
Chances on it.
So on track, you've got Max Verstappen now behind the safety car, because when the safety car first came out on track, it picked up George Russell, so it didn't have the leader behind it. Behind Verstappen, you've got this Alfa Romeo. Now, who's in the Alfa Romeo? That'll be Valtteri Bottas in 13th position. That's not second, is it? Second is Charles Leclerc. He's been sent off around the track. In fact, no, he's probably this car back here, this red Ferrari back here with a blue thing behind him. Whatever that is, that's a Williams of. Whether that's De Vries or whether that's Latifi. Probably Latifi. And this white car is probably the Haas of Schumacher. All right, so you've got Bottas. It doesn't matter. It's not the correct race order. It's not first, second, third, fourth, fifth. What does this mean? Right, what has happened? What has happened is the cars that the safety car picked up have been released until the leader is behind the safety car. Those cars have been released. They have to make it around the track. That means the field has then bunched. Once the field is bunched, they continue lapping until the track is declared safe, at which point the lapped cars get released. The lapped cars are still there. The field hasn't bunched yet. This is what has happened. These are the rules, these are the regulations, these are the procedures. But you don't get told the procedures. Instead, you get the bullshit commentators going, oh, and are we going to see this? And are we going to see that? And will there be any more racing laps? And let's cut to Ted in the pits and he'll tell us some bullshit. And, oh, we've got a radio message from Red Bull to Max telling them who's on which tyres. And, oh, are we going to see this? What's going on here? We don't know. Well, it's quite easy to work out what's going on. Just have a look, see what's going on, know what needs to happen, and if it's not happening in time, you ain't going to see any more racing. Quite simple. Okay? Quite simple. Some of us can see it like that. Some of us can see through the bullshit. Some of you get excited. You hear it, you hear them say it, and you're like, oh, yeah! Fucking yeah! No, it's not like that. It's not like that.
For whatever reason, just to explain to people at home, timing page 3 is the page where we all get the information from race.
Oh, there we are. Timing page 3 is the one where you all get the information. You know, this page here where it says +1 lap, Bottas, Tsunoda, Latifi, Magnussen, +1 lap. You know, you get that information on there.
Yeah, because the track is
reflected here, as in Bottas, Tsunoda, and then what's this one here? That's probably Latifi. Magnussen's probably not even in the picture. Okay, we've got Leclerc here. You get that information, yeah? Okay.
When I say we all, us in the commentary box as well as the pit wall, it hasn't come up.
And like, do you think race control would have that as well?
Normally it comes up for the cars to go past, but this is going to take too long to sort out because George is third in the race, but he's only just passed the safety car.
Well, of course, it is at the race director's discretion, isn't it, to let the lapped cars...
No, it's nothing to do with discretion. What's at the race director's discretion is whether or not to use the safety car. Do I use the safety car to deal with this incident? That's his discretion, okay? And there'll be criteria which he'll have to decide. Is this a situation where I put that safety car on track, or do I deal with this with just yellow flags or a virtual safety car? That's his discretion. Once he makes that choice to deploy the safety car, then you have to carry out the procedures that relate to that safety car, which is those procedures that are enacted every single time. Those procedures are that you wait for the field to bunch. You ensure that that first place car becomes the first car behind the safety car. Once the track has been declared safe, you then release cars if cars have been lapped. You make that safety car stay on track for at least one further lap to enable those released cars to catch the back of the safety car snake. Then and only then can you resume racing. They are the procedures. Now, the discretionary part is, if after that one mandatory lap, you are still looking at that track and you don't consider it safe, it's not safe to go racing, so you keep the safety car on track, because you can't race if it's not safe. So you keep lapping behind the safety car. The other discretionary choice is those released cars, if they have not caught the back of the snake, you keep the safety car on track to enable them the time to do so that when they do go racing, they're all bunched up in the correct race order and they've all got the same sporting chance of competing with one another. You don't just separate out a few to race off for a win. All competitors in that event have the same ability to challenge for the positions and be challenged from the car behind. That's what it's about. Instead, you lie to us. You lie to us. Read the rules. Look at my video 15.3 debunked. Look at every single video that I've done that evidences the truth of this. The commentary teams are full of shit.
Unlap themselves. They could go racing again. They normally like to get the lapped car.
They could go racing. We're on lap 52 of 53. We're on lap 52 of 53. The lapped cars haven't been released. There's a mandatory safety car lap. They're telling you they could go racing again. Unbelievable.
Of course, it is at the race director's discretion, isn't it, to let the lapped cars unlap themselves. They could go racing again. They normally like to get...
No, they couldn't. But you're being lied to. Still be on the edge of your seat, kids. You still might see a last lap shootout. Well, you won't, but, you know. You could. Still be excited, because you could. You could. You won't, but...
The lapped cars, you know, normally all of them out of the way, sometimes just some of them out of the way, and hopefully... I don't think we've got time to get a lap in here if they do that. Ted?
Normally, all of them, sometimes, just some... When was that sometimes? When was that sometimes? Does that be the one and only time? As in Abu Dhabi? Let's have a listen again.
Normally, all of them out of the way, sometimes just some of them out.
Only Abu Dhabi. Only Abu Dhabi. Strange that.
Out of the way, and hopefully... I don't think we've got time to get a lap in here.
And it's nothing to do with out of the way. It is enabling all of them cars to resume racing in the same conditions. That's called sporting fairness. That is in accordance with the FIA International Sporting Code, which underpins those regulations for a purpose. It's a sport. If you have to stop that sport, when you resume that sport, the same conditions apply to all competitors in that sport. That's what the regulations are there for. If you don't understand that and you can't get your head around that, you don't understand sport. But I'm not interested in what you think in the comments section, okay? Keep that shit to yourself, okay? Keep your opinions, if they're different, to yourself, because you are fucking ignorant and I don't care what you think, okay? You've been conditioned by bullshit. You've had your brain already fucking damaged by these corrupt bastards lying to you.
They do that. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of the teams down here in the pit lane tend to agree with you up there, Crofty and Karun. Ferrari, just looking at it like they're starting to wrap up for the day. A lot of the photographers, you might be able to hear a hubbub behind me, are just bargaining with a security guard as to whether they can go now down to the podium. So if it does get going again, looks like we'll have one lap, but even that looks unlikely.
If it does get going again, we'll have one lap. We're on lap 52 and 53. Look what's going on here. They've not released the lapped cars. But if it does get going, we'll have one lap. What you doing? You're lying. You're trying to make out as though what took place in Abu Dhabi was within the realms of possibility, when it wasn't.
Likely.
In hindsight, you could argue that if the race was immediately red flagged, we would have been treated to a grandstand finish.
Oh, the grandstand finish! Bullshit, okay? Bullshit. A grandstand finish. It's okay if it's organic, but this race is over 190 miles. How many marathons end up in a sprint finish? A marathon is contested over 26 miles, and generally the person that wins it kind of wins it by building up that advantage over the duration of that distance. And over a race that's 190 miles long, generally the winner wins it by building up that advantage over that distance. But what we'll do, we'll get rid of all those advantages and instead we'll just have a grandstand finish. Because the kids will like that. That will keep them on the edge of their seat. That will keep them entertained, won't it? That's organic, isn't it? No.
And it would have been at least a finish that isn't behind the safety car, but they are not the considerations really by race control.
There you go, they're not the considerations. Race control is not there to serve up to you to manufacture a grandstand finish. No, that's not what they're there for. They're there to apply the rules and regulations of the sport to ensure that that sport takes place in accordance with what a sport is, not manufactured entertainment, not a manufactured show.
Something like this happens, first of all, let's clear the accident and the incident as quickly as we possibly can. We're not necessarily trying to...
Like just like we see in football, you know, Man City are 5-0 up, but it gets to the 90th minute. We'll reset the score to 0-0 and we'll play next goal's the winner for a grandstand finish. Woohoo! It's not how it works, is it, kids? It's not how it works. It's not jumpers for goalpost. This is professional sport.
To create a grandstand finish, although of course that's sometimes what happens after a safety car late on.
Yeah, I'm slightly, I must admit, I'm slightly disappointed with that. I would have actually liked to have seen, because when they release a safety car and you realise, you know, the way of a staff...
You're disappointed that you didn't reach that level of arousal for the grandstand finish, Karun, aren't you? Yeah, it's very disappointing.
Verstappen and Leclerc were on the train. There were 11 cars in front of Verstappen, including George Russell, who of course wasn't a lapped car. You know, he was just the first car on the train, the way the pit stops shook out.
The point I would make though, Karun, is that if there's something on the track, then like the cherry picker, like the JCB, then it might be best to red flag it.
Sorry, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm disappointed they didn't red flag the race.
Yeah.
That's not what the regulations are. The regulations are dictated by the safety procedures. Now, if there's room to get by that incident at a controlled speed, then you use a safety car. There was room to get by that incident at a controlled speed, so you'd use a safety car. They were just very slack in how they did it, the time it took. They were slack in race control deploying the safety car. They were slack in getting that crane out there and getting that car out of the way. It was probably possible, had they done those things quicker, to get a racing lap done in time if you'd have carried out all these procedures. But as this was unfolding, you could just quite easily see this isn't going to happen in time. They showed us what was happening, and you could, if you knew what the sport was about, you could just go, yeah, this isn't going to happen in time. They didn't show you that in Abu Dhabi. They didn't show you what was actually going on in Abu Dhabi. Instead, they just cut from bullshit replay to bullshit replay to bullshit commentary, lying about the rules of the sport, suggesting these notions of, are we going to see this? And then they broke the rules and it happened. Strange, that.
Well, the order was so jumbled up, and then we would have had a three-lap race from a standing start, which would have been quite exciting for all of us and everyone watching at home.
I'm sorry you didn't get excitement. You know, sport sometimes ends in a way where you don't get that finale of excitement. Sometimes it fizzles out into a 0-0 draw. Sometimes a team is 4-0 up at half-time and the game ends 4-0. You know, for 45 minutes of a football match, you don't see any more goals. That's not the grandstand finish that we wanted. That's called sport. That's what sport sometimes is. All right? That's what it is.
Well, the Tifosi wanted excitement. They wanted to see their man Charles Leclerc get victory here.
And we will finish the race behind the safety car.
Come on. It's clear, come on.
Yeah, copy.
But the drivers know. But the drivers know. But the drivers know. Yeah, but the drivers aren't race control. They're not the officials. Like football players, they appeal to the referee when they want a foul. They don't always get the decision. Oh, I want. And lucky mate, I'm dealing with how things need to be dealt with in accordance with the rules of the sport. It's not about what you want. Let me know what you think in the comments section. In fact, no, don't.
Yeah, and he's right from that perspective, but as you can see, there are two cars between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, so all the lap cars haven't unlapped themselves. So we're going to get, with yellow flags waving, one more final parade lap around Monza behind the safety car. Red Bull will argue that we were winning this race at a canter. A red flag, you know, would have been harsh on us. Ferrari.
Red Bull will argue that they were winning the race at a canter, and a red flag would have been harsh on us. Right. Did you say that in Abu Dhabi when Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton were winning that race at a canter, and a red flag wasn't an option?
Would say, actually, just gives best entertainment, and we should have best entertainment, and it's well within the rules. As
No, it's not within the rules, and it's not about best entertainment. It's called a sport, and you conduct that sport in accordance with the rules of the sport. You don't bastardize the rules just to put on a show, because that's not authentic sport. And what you're doing by suggesting it this way is conditioning the minds of people to bastardize sport. Oh, just give people what they want. Let people live their best life. Let them all shop like billionaires. Oh, right, okay, because that's what all of our lives are like, isn't it? That's what all of our lives are like. Yeah, living the fucking dream.
Giacomo Agostini, the legend, is getting ready to wave the checkered flag. It's never.
That's it. You keep lying to the kids, keep hyping them up, keep filling their brains with bullshit. That's all you're doing. Selling crack to the kids, taking their money off them, advertising the products to the kids, getting them excited, but bringing them up with no fucking sense of reality. No realism, no integrity, no morality. This is the damage you're doing, you damaging bastards. All in the name of making fucking money. Advertising bullshit bastards.
Satisfactory to finish behind the safety car, but maybe it's what it should have happened on other occasions.
Behind this fucking facade of a sport. Bullshit.
In the past, Karoo Chandler.
Yeah, but the past is the past, Crofty. You know, we've got to turn the page, and I think we...
Oh, but the past is the past. We've got to move on now from Abu Dhabi, yeah? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, Karun? Oh, yeah, that was in the past. Let's move on.
Maybe it's what it should have happened on other occasions in the past, Karoo Chandler.
Yeah, but the past is the past, Crofty. You know, we've got to turn the page, and I think we've seen races red flagged and restarted like in Baku, and you know.
And why did we see the race in Baku red flagged? There was a reason for that. That was because of the location of Max Verstappen's car after the tyre had blown up on it. They, rather than use the racetrack to lap by that incident, they chose to bring those cars through the pits. What Red Bull offered the race director as a valid safety concern was this notion of, this tyre has exploded without any warning whatsoever. You're now lapping these cars through a pit lane. If a further tyre was to explode, which was, it already happened to Lance Stroll's car, I believe. Verstappen's was the second car where they'd got a tyre exploding without warning. If that happened to a car, as if it was going through a pit lane and that car lost control and careered off into a garage, it could have done serious damage to a human being. So therefore, that's a risk. Consider red flagging, because even parading those cars through the pit lane behind the safety car is a safety risk. Therefore, it's something you might consider, just stop the race to eliminate that risk. And if you're going to restart it, everybody can change onto tyres so that there's not going to be any more blowouts like that. That's the reason that they did it. They could have declared that race over at that point in time. rather than restart it. That's within the regulations. But they didn't. They didn't. So what happened then happened. But that was the reason. Don't try and make these situations comparable when there are valid reasons, valid explanations that you're not educating people with that. You don't. You just hype it up. Hype it up all the time.
The easy thing is for all of us to look at Abu Dhabi because it's the most high-profile one. But let's look, in today's case, I think we in this commentary box are probably in agreement with most people out in the out at home saying a Grand Slam finish would have been great.
Ted Kravitz, it would have been worth waiting for.
Well, because Leclerc had the new tyre, didn't he not? Did he not?
Yeah.
And
well, the top four all pitted.
Yes, but it was a new tyre for Leclerc, a new soft, I believe. Whereas it was...
That was a used soft.
A new soft? Okay.
He'd used the new soft on the previous stint.
Okay, it was a new one for... Must have been Sainz who put the new one on. But yeah, the grandstand making their feelings pretty clear about the whole thing. But well, you've got to follow. If we learnt one thing from Abu Dhabi, the race director has to follow the procedures.
I can hear a few boos.
Yeah, there is a bit
ringing around.
I mean, maybe.
If we learnt one thing from Abu Dhabi, the race director has to follow the procedures. And you're still lying about the procedures. You're still lying about the procedures. You've never explained what them procedures are. You've never explained the purpose of those procedures. You're still giving it the bullshit that 15.3 means that the race director can do whatever the fuck they want. They can't. All 15.3 does is say the race director can choose whether or not to deploy that safety car. Once he's deployed it, once he's carried out those safety car procedures, which are mandatory in order to go racing again, they're mandatory procedures, he can also decide whether to keep that out on track or not. That's all his discretion relates to, is to, okay, I've carried these procedures out, now I can bring it in. Or, I've carried these procedures out, but I'm still not happy, so I'll keep it out. That's his overriding authority. That's all it extends to. Because 48 in those 2021 regulations are mandatory procedures that he must follow once he deploys that safety car. Doesn't give him carte blanche over doing what the fuck he wants with the safety car. Not in the slightest.
They think, it would have been, if there wasn't a tyre difference, they thought, there might have been a chance for Leclerc, but I don't know. The lesson from the rest of the race is that Verstappen was the faster car and would have been able to fend off any attack from Leclerc, but at least...
The lesson from the rest of the race is that Verstappen was the faster car. Wonder what lessons we draw from Abu Dhabi. Who fully deserved it? Who led the most laps? Bullshit.
At least we would have been able to see that.
Max Verstappen is seeing the safety car disappear, and he's heading round the Parabolica for what will be the 30th win of his career, and a win that mathematically means he could win the title in Singapore next time out. It's a 5th consecutive win for Max Verstappen. Behind the safety car, he wins the Italian Grand Prix. He will stand on the podium at Monza for the first time in his Formula One career. Charles Leclerc, consecutive podium finishes for the first time since the first 3 races of this season. Verstappen has won 5 in a row. George Russell comes home to take 3rd and complete the podium places. Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton from the back of the grid. Sergio
14. Now they've done it. They've beaten.
See, celebrate good times, or come on. We're all slapping each other's back. We're all pleased. It's ended behind the safety car.
Era.
But you know
They've taken
victories
in 2011 and 2013.
Woohoo!
But never.
Okay, you can celebrate a win behind a safety car. Oh, nobody wants to see a race end behind a safety car. That's no celebration for anybody, is it? Unless it's Red Bull.
And but will they let the lap runners through? I don't think it's absolutely mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day that they don't. And if
the rules aren't different in changeable weather conditions, it's the same set of rules.
So how long will they wait for those lap cars to get out of the way? If they wait for them to catch the pack up, which they don't have to do, then I don't think we'll get a racing lap. If they let them through, we could get one racing lap.
They do have to let them through. That's in the regulations. They're the procedures that need to be carried out. That's 48.12, a mandatory procedure. It's not about getting them out of the way. It's about restoring the correct race order and giving each of them competitors the same sporting chance.
3 laps to go. Nicholas Latifi.
So it needs to happen this lap.
Lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake.
It's not mandatory in the regulations, which...
Yes, it is. Lapped cars are not allowed to overtake is a lie. Okay? The order in the regulations is overtaking will not be permitted. That applies to all competitors. Means overtaking is not permitted. No car can overtake because it's a safety situation. Lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake means nothing. Does that mean that if you're not lapped, you can overtake? It's ambiguous. That's why regulations aren't written like that. That's why it's not a regulation. Check them out. Who's lying to you? It's not me.
Which leaves Verstappen with a lot of work to do then.
No, it doesn't, because we can't go racing. We just continue lapping behind the safety car until it's safe to carry out the mandatory procedures.
So Mercedes will be Constructors' champions at the end of this race as it stands at the moment, assuming that Hamilton and Bottas finish this race. The Drivers' Championship, though, is very much up for grabs.
No, it's not, because unless the lapped cars get released on this lap, so that lap 57 can be that mandatory safety car lap, we're in for a safety car finish. And the track's not clear yet. So it's not up for grabs yet. It all is dependent on whether that track can be cleared in time. So show us that track. Show us turn 14. Show us what's going on at turn 14. Let's have a look.
Which means that there are plenty of cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen for Verstappen to fight.
That's not turn 14. That's turn 8. We don't know what's going on at turn 14 because you do not show us.
Of cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen for Verstappen to fight his way through. Norris, Alonso and also Ocon and Leclerc. That there are plenty of cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen.
Yeah, just 5 of the 8 listed again. Just 5 of 8.
For Verstappen to fight his way through. Norris, Alonso and also Ocon and Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel.
None of which are for position, of course. No. They're obliged to get out of the way, but Lewis will be long down the road.
That I suppose is the compromise that race control have made here.
The compromise that race control have made. Lap 56 of 58, before the rules are broken. I suppose this is the compromise that race control have made. Something that's not allowed, but the commentators are suggesting this is the compromise. Oh, let's compromise the rules of a sport, shall we? Let's make a compromise of the rules in football. Let's make a compromise and give this team a penalty, because everybody wants to see a goal in this match. Nobody wants to see it end 0-0, so the referee has made a compromise and just given one of the teams a penalty. I suppose that's the decision the referee's making here.
By giving the best possible chance for racing to the finish rather than finishing behind the safety car, they've decided the lap cars will stay where they are.
Cancel that. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake.
Oh, well, that'll do for this one, because all the other things, you've probably heard them countless times on my videos. It's all bullshit. The show lies to you. They continue to lie to you. I'm going to show you what the F1 TV commentary team did at the same race. You'll hear the same event unfold, but with a different commentary team, but the same bullshit. It's all hype. It's all bullshit. And for those brains that can't understand that it's just hype and bullshit, they buy it. They buy into it. It's like hypnosis. You watch these hypnosis shows where the the hypnotist goes around the audience and picks out the ones that he knows he can hypnotise. And he'll know that there's some people that just aren't susceptible to it. It's exactly the same with this sport. Some of us can look at it and see it for exactly what it is and don't get hypnotised by it. But there's so many brain dead people that they just will never wake up to it. It's the world we live in. Anyway, if you liked what you heard, please like and subscribe. And if you don't, jog on. I don't want to hear what you've got to say in the comment section. I'm not interested in your bullshit comments in the comment section, because they're not enlightening. You know fuck all. You're brain dead. Okay? If you think after watching this that you know what you're talking about Formula One, and it's different to what you've just seen, jog on. Okay? Because you're thick as pig shit that's been dried in the sun and will never get through to you. Enjoy your lives. Enjoy your life. I'm sure you'll have a lovely time living your best life, shopping like a billionaire.